Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video we'll be making this bear hat set. For materials we'll be using a lightweight acrylic yarn, the Lamia Baby Boom. It's very soft yarn. We'll be using it in this chocolate brown and beige color. We'll also be needing a tape measure, 2.5mm hook, a pair of scissors, stitch markers, yarn needle. We'll also be needing some buttons. To start off, we're going to make a slip knot. And we are going to chain a total of 14.5 inches. And we are making this in 1 month size. Once you have your 14.5 inches, you are going to slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. We are starting with the waist of the shorts. To start off around 1, we're going to chain 2. We are going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch all around. So that's how it's beginning to look like. We're going to do that all around to the end. I'm now at the end of round 1. And then to close off the round, I'm going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. Remember that the chain 2 we did at the beginning does not count as a stitch. For round 2, we chain 2 as well, and we are going to make front post and back post double crochet. So we yarn over, go to the back of the first stitch, grab by yarn, and do a full double crochet, and that's our first front post double crochet. We are now going to do a back post double crochet. So yarn over, go through the front of the second stitch, grab your yarn, do a full double crochet, and that's our back post double crochet. So we are going to continue doing front post double crochet, back post double crochet, all through to the end of round 2. So this is how it looks. All the columns are beginning to show. So repeat this and I'll meet you at the end of round 2. So I'm at the end of round 2. I'm going to do my final stitches. Front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and my last back post double crochet. I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first front post double crochet. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. For round 3, you chain 2 again. Always start a round with chain 2. We are going to do a front post double crochet and a back post double crochet in the next stitch. So we are repeating round 2. So we are going to repeat this pattern all around, and I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So for round 4, we're going to repeat the same thing we did for round 3. We chain 2 and we are going to do a front post double crochet, and a back post double crochet. Repeat this pattern to the end of round 4 as well. Now the waist of our shorts is done. We are going to start with round 5. We'll start with a chain 2, and then we are going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch all around. The first double crochet is in the same space as the chain 2. At the end of round 5, you slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. So you're going to start with a chain 2, make a double crochet into the first stitch, the same stitch as the 2 chain, and so you're going to repeat the same pattern as round 5. We're going to do that until the short measures 5.5 inches, and that's from the waist to the crotch of our baby. We are going to repeat round 5, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of my 5.5 inch measurement. I'm going to finish off my last round, and you slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. Mark your beginning stitch with a stitch marker so that it doesn't unravel. Now we are going to count the total number of stitches we have for the last round. Which is going to be the same number of stitches as our starting chain. So when you have the total number of stitches, you are going to divide that into 2, and that's going to be the number of stitches for each leg. So I had 78 stitches, so each leg is going to have 39 stitches. So I'm going to mark my 39 stitch with my stitch marker, and these are going to be my 2 legs, that's the thighs of the shorts. So I'm going to start with the first leg or thigh. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch until I get to the second stitch marker. So whatever number of stitches you get for your total last round, you divide it into 2 to get the number of stitches for each leg. If you have an odd number, you're going to leave 1 stitch out to sew in when you are done. So I'm at my last stitch. I'm going to make 1 double crochet into that 39th stitch. Yours may differ. Then you chain 2 and then connect it to the first double crochet to form your thigh. Now for the second round of the thigh, we are going to start with a chain 2 and make 1 double crochet in each stitch all around. Now when you get to the chain 2 space, you make 1 double crochet into each of the chains. And then slip stitch to the first double crochet to close the round. We are going to repeat the second row one more time. So we are going to make 1 double crochet all around. And finish off our third round with a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 2. We are going to make front post double crochet for the edging of our shorts. So front post double crochet like we did for the waist, back post double crochet. Yarn over, go through the back of the stitch, front post double crochet, yarn over, go through the front of the stitch, back post double crochet. We are going to do this row twice to finish off the edging of our shorts. So I'm completing my round of front post double crochets and back post double crochets. I'll slip stitch to the top of the first front post double crochet. I'm going to chain 2 to start off the last round. Do a front post double crochet, yarn over, do a back post double crochet, and this is our last round. Front post double crochet, yarn over, do a back post double crochet. To finish off, I'll slip stitch to the first front post double crochet, chain 1 and cut off my yarn. So first leg is done. We are going to do the second leg. We'll insert our hook into the next stitch, pull our yarn through, and I'm going to make a knot to secure the yarn. I'm going to make a chain 2 and make 1 double crochet into the same space as the chain 2 and then 1 double crochet all around, remembering that I have to make 39 stitches for this leg as well. So depending on the number of stitches you have for each leg, make sure you count your stitches. And the chain 2 at the start does not count as a stitch. We're going to repeat everything we did for the first leg for the second leg. And we've done our 39 stitches. This is the last stitch. So we have 1 stitch left. We'll chain 2 and connect it to the first double crochet. So we are going to make 2 more rows of double crochets as we did for the first leg, always starting with a chain 2 and slip stitching to the first double crochet when you are at the end of your round. We are now going to start with our front post double crochet and back post double crochet edging. We chain 2 and do our first front post double crochet and a back post double crochet. We are going to repeat this all to the end of the round. And we're going to do our final round of front post double crochet and back post double crochet. And at the end of the round, we'll slip stitch to the top of the first front post double crochet, chain 1, and cut off our yarn, and our short is done. We now have to weave in our ends and sew our crotch area. You turn your work wrong side out. We are going to sew the crotch area first. There's a space between the legs. I'm also going to weave in all my ends. Once you're done weaving all your ends, you turn your work right side out again. We're now going to sew on our buttons for our straps or suspenders. And you will need 4 buttons. Make sure your buttons at the back are aligned with the buttons at the front so that your suspenders can attach properly. We're now going to start with our straps. Start with a slip knot. I'm going to chain 7. I'm using the darker yarn for the straps. I'm going to chain 7, and with row 1 we are going to make 1 double crochet into the 3rd chain. And we're going to make 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So we have 5 double crochets. You're going to chain 2 for row 2. You turn your work and make 1 double crochet into the same stitch as the chain 2, and make 1 more double crochet into each stitch to the end of the row. We're going to chain 2, turn our work, and make 5 double crochets to the end of the round. We are going to repeat this until the strap measures 9.5 inches. So I'm going to chain 1 and cut off my yarn at the end of my 9.5 inches. I'm now going to weave in my ends. The strap is all done and we're going to make 2 of this. So we are going to attach your strap to the buttons on the shorts. Now that our shorts is all done, we are going to move on to making our bear bonnet hat. So we start by making a slip knot, chain 3, and then slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. Chain 2 to start your first round. You are going to make 10 double crochet into the ring. I've come to the end of my first round and I'm going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. Remember, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So I slip stitch. To start round 2, I'll chain 2 and make 2 double crochet into each stitch all around. So our first double crochet goes into the same stitch as the 2 chain. The 2 chain does not count as a stitch. Make our second double crochet also in the same stitch, then we move on to the next stitch. So 2 double crochet in each stitch all around. And we are going to have 20 stitches for round 2, and again I'll slip stitch the top of my first double crochet. Now to start round 3, I'm going to chain 2 as well. I'm going to make 2 double crochets into the first stitch. That's the same stitch as the chain 2. 2 double crochets and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Two double crochet, one double crochet into the next stitch. And we are going to repeat this till the end of round 3. So I'm at the end of round 3, and again I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet, and that completes round 3. We're going to do another round of increase, so chain 2, 1 double crochet into the first stitch, same stitch as the chain 2, 1 double crochet into the next, 2 double crochet into the next stitch. So 1 double crochet to the next 2 stitches, 2 double crochet into the third stitch, and repeat this till the end of round 4. So this is my last stitch, and that's round 4 done. Now last row of increase, that's round 5. We again start with a 2 chain. We're going to make 2 double crochet into the first stitch, same stitch as the chain 2. Chain 2 doesn't count as a double crochet. So 2 double crochet the first stitch and 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, 2, 3, then 2 double crochet into the fourth stitch. And you're going to repeat this till the end of round 5. So I'm making my last 3 stitches, my last 3 double crochet stitches, and the last row of increase is done. I'm now going to measure the diameter of the crown of the bonnet to make sure it measures 4 inches. And I'm going to measure 1.5 inches from the start of the rounds. From the last stitch, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches and I'm going to mark it. Now we're going to work in rows. So for row 1, you chain 1, make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, same stitch as the chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And then make 1/2 double crochet into the next stitch. Grab your yarn, pull through all 3 loops, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Now you're going to make 1 double crochet all around until the last 2 stitches. Now I'm at the last 2 stitches. I'm going to yarn over, make 1/2 double crochet, pull through all 3 loops, and then the last stitch make 1 single crochet. I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. I'm going to make 1 double crochet into the same stitch as the chain 2. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. And I'm going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch all around to the end of the row. At the end of row 2, I'm going to make 1 last double crochet into the last stitch. Row 3, we'll chain 1, turn our work and repeat row 1. So we make 1 single crochet into the same stitch as the chain 1 space, do 1/2 double crochet into the next stitch, and then do 1 double crochet all around till the last 2 stitches. The last 2 stitches we are going to make 1/2 double crochet, pull through all 3 loops, and then 1 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 4, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and we're going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch all around. So our repeat pattern is row 1 and row 2 until the hat measures 5 inches. So here my hat measures 5 inches, and we are going to now do the edging of our hat. We are going to start by chaining 2, turn our work. We are going to be making front post and back post double crochets, but for the first stitch we are going to make 1 double crochet into the first stitch. That's the same space as the chain 2. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. I'm going to yarn over, go to the back through the back of our second stitch, grab our yarn, pull through, and make a front post double crochet. I'm going to grab our yarn, yarn over, go to the front of the next stitch and do a back post double crochet. Yarn over, do a front post double crochet, yarn over again, go through the front of the next stitch and do a back post double crochet. So we are going to repeat front post, back post until we get to the last stitch of the row. So you see that the bars are showing nicely. I'm going to repeat that all around till the last stitch. I'm going to make my last front post double crochet and then make 1 double crochet into the last stitch. Make sure that your work is turned to the right side. And then we are going to chain 2, turn our work, make 1 double crochet into the same stitch as the 2 chain, and to yarn over and do a back post double crochet. So wherever I see a back post, do a back post double crochet. Wherever I see a front post, do a front post double crochet. So front post double crochet in the next stitch, yarn over, back post double crochet on the back post double crochet, front post double crochet on the front post double crochet, back post double crochet on the back post double crochet, front post double crochet on the front post double crochet. See, the bars are showing nicely. We're going to repeat this till we get to the last stitch. I'm on the last stitch, so I'm going to make 1 double crochet into that final stitch, yarn over, make 1 double crochet, So our rows are done. I had to measure 5.5 inches. Now I'm going to make the straps of the bonnet. I'm going to chain 16 inches, but I can chain as long as you would prefer. Have my 16 inches. Now we are going to skip the first chain. So we skip the loop on the hook and the first chain. I'm going to make one single crochet into the second chain and then into each chain all to the end. So at the end of your straps, you're not going to cut off your yarn. You're going to continue making one single crochet along the edges of the bonnet to finish off the edges nicely. You're going to make one single crochet into each stitch along the edges of the bonnet till we get to the other end where we'll be making our second strap. So I'm at the end of my edging. I've done one single crochet along the edge, and this is the back of the bonnet, so it's nicely done. We are going to continue to the end and we are going to chain the same length that we did for the other strap. So my second strap is done. Again, I'm going to make one single crochet into each stitch starting from the second chain. And to do that all to the end, it's going to look like the first one when we are done. So my second strap is done. I'm going to continue and finish the front edging where our front post back posts are with single crochets. I'm going to slip stitch to the first strap, chain one and cut off my yarn. My bonnet is all done. I'm now going to weave in my end using my yarn needle. So we are going to start making the bear ears. Make a slip knot. Chain 3. And slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. Chain 2 to start round 1, and we are going to make 10 double crochets into the ring. I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. Chain 2 for round 2. I'm going to make 2 double crochets into each stitch all around. I'm going to have 20 stitches at the end of round 2 and slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet to close the round. I'm going to make another round of increase, so I chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. We make 1 double crochet into the same space as the chain 2. and then you make 2 double crochet into the next stitch. 1 double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the next. So you're going to repeat this pattern for the whole of round 3. At the end of round 3, I'm going to slip stitch the top of the first double crochet. So for the last round, we are going to make some decreases. I'm going to chain 1, make 1 single crochet to the next 4 stitches, and then make 1 single crochet decrease into the 5th stitch. To make your decrease, insert your hook, grab your yarn, insert into the next stitch, grab your yarn, and pull through all the 3 loops on your hook. Make 4 single crochets into the next 4 stitches, and I'm going to make a decrease. Grab your yarn, insert, grab your yarn, and pull through all 3. 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches, and then make your decrease. And slip stitch to the first single crochet. Chain 1 and cut off your yarn. We are going to use the tail to weave in the ear to the bonnet. So we are going to make 2 of these. Now I'm going to sew in my ear to the bonnet. I'm going to fold the bonnet into 2. Make sure it's well aligned. And I'm going to attach it close to the edging where the front post and back post double crochet starts. I'm going to hold the ear to the body using some sewing pins. I'm going to attach the other ear. I'm going to make sure that it's at the same level as the first ear. Once you get your position right, use the tails of the ears to sew them to the body of the bonnet. I'm done sewing the ears to the bonnet, and your bare bonnet is all done. This is perfect for photo shoots or as a gift. If you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe, share. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.